and relationships, all over cocktails, of course.
Indeed. Thank you all for coming tonight and joining us for this conversation. We're going to have a discussion about our perspectives because we're not professionals.
We don't claim to be the experts and know everything, but what we will give you is our unique perspective based on our individual experiences. Me as a married mother.
And myself as a single woman out dating in the world.
So what you are going to get is fun. Take it for what it is. Take something from it, learn something from it, but it's just to foster good conversation and dialogue and give you a better understanding within the makings of the mind of a woman.
And the social interactions that go with us.
Because they're kind of complicated, right?
They're always complicated.
They're always complicated, but not as complicated as men.
Yes.
Right? So foremost, we plan to have a good time. It's going to be a little educational, but it's definitely going to be fun. So before we get started, we definitely want to shout out our host, Bo,
Yes.
and this beautiful establishment and allowing us to crash his pad for the night.
Yes.
We've taken it over, and this is the Cocktails Clubhouse for the night. And we have our beautiful audience in the back.
It's our drink of the night. As you know, we always have a drink through our festivities. And we call this lovely little cocktail, Share the Love.
Share the Love. And why is it called Share the Love?
Because our topic for the night.
Oh, before we started, shout out to Brittany, our beautiful bartender over there, for making these delicious drinks.
Cheers.
Cheers. So Share the Love. Why is it called Share the Love?
Our discussion topic for the night is polyamorous relationships.
And what else? There's another component to that.
Swingers.
And so a lot of people get these things mixed up. There is a huge difference because as soon as you say a poly relationship, people automatically think of polygamy.
Yes.
Which is a total different thing in itself.
Polygamy is not polyamory. Polygamy is when you marry more than one person. And polyamory is when you have intimate relationships with more than one person. But that doesn't mean you have to be married.
So then what's the difference with swinging then?
So swinging can happen whether you're single, whether you're in a relationship, whether you're married or not, but definitely involves sex.
But they say the main component with swinging is that the basis is the couple. The
yes,
couple.
There is the
couple is the foundation,
but
and
there
then
are
they use
also
other people as the entertainment per
the
se.
entertainment.
But as far as poly, it's more to do with relationships and love.
Every facet of that interaction.
And like a lot of people say, how can you love more than one person? But a lot of people that are in the poly life attribute it to being able to have love for more than one children. If you can have love for more than one kid, why can't you have love for more than one person?
Exactly, and I look at it as you have your different types of friendships, and you have friends that you go to for different things, and friends that you go to for different types of support and encouragement, and I can't see how that would be all that different in your intimate relationships. One person can be your cuddles, the other person can be for exploring different sexual avenues.
But when we talked before, you said you're not with that.
I didn't say I would do it, I just said I understand it.
You said you're not with the shit.
Yeah, I'm not sharing, but I understand why some people do.
Can you?
I do understand it.
You can.
I can
But you
understand
just wouldn't do it.
I don't.
So do you think that people are made to be monogamous?
No.
Because a lot of people think that that's a male trait.
I don't think it's inherently male or female,
Not
but
being monogamous.
men kind of get a hard line with that.
You think so?
I do.
Because we have a couple of guests here, and one of our guests actually is a woman.
Yes.
Yeah, and she was in a poly relationship. And she kind of says that that was the reasoning to the demise of her marriage as well, with some of the poly lifestyle.
I can see why that would go that way.
You can see why that would go that way.
Because not everybody's going to be open to sharing that experience with, different folks when they're looking to share it with just their partner.
So do you think that you could do swinging, but you
No.
just couldn't do poly?
No.
You couldn't share at all?
I don't share. It's all mine on mine. And I know it's not a good idea to look at it as possession, and that's not what I mean to look at it as, but I don't want my partner to be making somebody else feel the way that they make me feel, and I don't want to make anybody else feel that way when it's just my partner.
So do you think that humans can be monogamous and can have one partner for the rest of their lives?
I think they can choose to.
What do you guys think? No? Can we get a raise of hand? How many people think that there's one person for you forever and ever? Really?
Like half the room. Okay.
And so how many people don't feel that way?
Those two.
On the fence.
On the fence?
Okay, one person on the fence, two. Okay.
Well, a lot of people say that humans aren't meant to be monogamous.
Well, we're still a mammal, so we're still an animal. So I don't see why it'd be all that different. I mean, we are thinking, but at the same time, there's no reason why it can't be both. It's an active choice. The same way cheating is a choice. You choose to do that. You choose to step outside your relationship. The only difference is you either choose to do it while informing your partner and they're consenting to it and all parties are consenting to it.
Because that's that's the important part is consent.
Yes, consent
is
sexy.
what makes the difference.
Yes.
It's consent.
Yes, it's all about communication, trust, and consent.
But what if you were in a relationship for a long term and, you know, he came to you and he was being honest and he's just like, look, I can't do this. I mean, I love you, I want to be with you, but I also have an urge to be with other people.
And I have an urge not to share. So, no.
It's just a flat out no for you.
For me, it's a flat out no. I don't know. I think that would be one of those sessions you kind of have to go for counseling or something, but that's a hard line no for me.
Because, I mean, don't you think that he gets credit for coming to you
Sure.
and being honest instead of
an
just
A for
going out
effort.
there and doing it?
It's an A for
Or would you
effort.
rather someone do it and just not know, and you just not know about it?
But then that's cheating. That's not polyamory.
No, it's not.
But I think polyamory involves, you know, all parties involved have to agree to it.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're just cheating.
It's just cheating. So what about swinging?
You still kind of have to agree to it. I mean, that's
Of course
still,
you have to agree to it, but as far as swingers, a lot of people say you separate sex and love.
I don't think I can
And
do
that's
that.
what is the difference between the poly
I
relationships.
used to be able to do that in my heyday, but I don't think I can do that now.
In your heyday? So
Yes, my
wait a
heyday.
minute. So what happened in your heyday? What happened?
You know, everybody at some point kind of has their, you know, their savage hoe phase, and
Were
just
you
go
swam
out.
in the lady pond?
No, I did not at all. However, I, you know, had multiple partners without being tied down to anybody.
Multiple partners?
Yes.
How many would you do in a week?
Let me stroll down memory lane right quick.
Wait, I gotta take a sip for this. I think you need a sip
I
too.
think it might have been like 3 in 1 week. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Judge your mother.
Wait a minute, I got my judging binoculars just for this very moment. Did you say 3 in 1 week?
I did. That was one time.
If I had pearls, honey, I'd be clutching my pearls.
I'm just saying, I had to experiment. I had to catch up on things. I was in an 8-year relationship that went nowhere. So I felt I needed to catch
I'm all
up on
for it,
stuff.
as long as you were safe
Absolutely.
and you were happy.
Oh, yes.
So why can't women fuck like that?
I mean, they can. It's just a stigma that goes with it. And
You were breaking all of that down. You were like, watch me. Fuck
I was
all
nobody else's
these
business
3
but
men in
mine.
this week. Just watch me.
And I definitely was, you know, doing my own thing, and they didn't know I was doing other stuff. But I'm like, it ain't nothing to do with you.
Hey, I want to give you a high five. I commend that.
Thank you.
I'm jealous of that. You know, I was a child bride, so I didn't get to have a whole phase.
But at the same time, I feel like it was necessary.
And it was liberating?
It was. It really was.
What's liberating about having sex with various men?
It wasn't about the sex. It was about making the choice to say, I'm not tied down to anybody. I'm not committed to this person. I don't owe you anything beyond the boundary of what I said.
Right.
So that was very liberating. And also finding out what I liked and what I didn't like. And it was a lot of me going, yeah, I'm not down for that. And me going, yep.
So what didn't you like?
I would probably say I dabble in the realm of very vanilla. In the terms of BDSM, I'm pretty vanilla.
Okay.
I mean, I've had my experimental phases, and I was like, yeah, no, it's not for
And I'm
me.
glad that you brought that up because one of our guests is actually an expert
Ew.
in that field. Where's your glasses? Mr. Sir Daniels. So he does all types of kinky stuff. So.
But I think that's
gonna be
good. I think it's healthy
interesting.
for people to explore that. And I think it's always good to be able to explore those options within the realm of sex with a partner you trust. Otherwise, why do it?
Why
Sex
do
should
it?
be fun. It should be an adventure. It should be. It shouldn't be
And
this
women
daunting
shouldn't
thing.
be shamed
No.
for wanting to experience that
Never
and have
that.
all the fun.
Never
Like I
that.
said, the women that sit home and they cross their legs with their prayer cloth, holding their Bible, waiting to be deemed worthy for a man to come wife them up. Sad, sad, sad little creatures.
It is sad.
It is sad.
And they tend to be the ones that are, you know, deep into like those 50 Shades of Grey books. And
While men are out there living their best life.
yeah.
And y'all at home pretending. That's
I was
a sad
living
way to
all
live.
kinds of best life.
It's fun, right?
It was so much fun. Yes.
Are you out of your hoe phase now?
Yes, I'm out of it. I got it out of my system. I'm good.
I don't think the people at home are happy to hear that. I think they like the hoe Mimi.
They haven't met them.
They want Mimi to hoe. Hoe Mimi, hoe, hoe, hoe.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you've been in a long-term relationship and then you break out of it, you need to, you know, dive into the deep end and just go ahead on a little adventure and figure out what you like. Just be selfish.
Right,
That's what it is.
Right.
Be selfish. Do you.
And no fear of being judged.
People are going to judge anyway. So it's more the acceptance of knowing that's going to happen and ignoring it.
And we're too old to be judging folks, don't you think?
No, I think it's human to judge.
You think it's human to judge?
I just ignore it.
But judging women for wanting to enjoy life and have sex like men.
People are going to do it. The same way we're going to look at men that, you know, aren't very take charge and aren't very assertive as being some sort of beta males. And, you know, the same way we judge them, they're going to judge us.
And we do a lot of judging of you fellas on this show.
Always judging.
We do a lot of judging. And a lot of you guys asked to be here. We don't want you here. It's not that we don't care about your opinion,
it's not about you.
It's about our perspective and the inner workings of a woman. So y'all just gonna have to sit back and watch and take your shit. We don't want you here.
Indeed.
You know,
Indeed.
From time to time we might invite some guests.
Yeah.
Like we had David Lloyd Marcus here with his book, Ouch, This May Hurt.
And he was fun to play with.
He was fun to play with,
He
wasn't he?
He, you know, he
We took it easy on him,
held his
though.
own. He held his own because I was a bit, you know, I was ready.
You was ready.
I was.
You was ready. All right, so I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready for our guests.
Let's do it.
So coming up, we're going to have Evie. So she is the one that was in the poly relationship, and she was also married in this relationship. And again, she attributes the poly lifestyle to the demise of her marriage. And we also have Sir Daniels. I guess that's what we're calling him.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, Sir Daniels.
Sir Daniels.
So he is also involved in a poly relationship and also in that extra lifestyle.
The swinging.
The swinging and
back and forth in the BDSM.
The BDSM, that's the most important part. So when we get back, we're going to find out all about it. Stay tuned. How was that? Was good? Welcome back to Cocktails After Dark. So before we introduce our guests, when we went on break, we were talking a little bit about hoism.
Hoe is life.
Hoe is life. So we want to go back to this topic a little bit and talk about hoism and why women are labeled hoes. And do you claim the title as a hoe when you were talking about your hoe phase and the fact that, yes, because I'm judging, the fact that you were with 3 men a week.
In 1 week, and it was one time. Just one time.
It's only one time.
It was only that one time. But it was. I don't consider it, well, I don't claim the name hoe. I just don't care. I just don't care if somebody slaps that label on because I know it's going to happen.
But do you think it's fair? Do you think it's fair?
No.
That women are called hoes?
No. Because it's so derogatory when it's heathen women. It's like you're supposed to be this Virgin Mary acolyte, if you will, and you're supposed to keep yourself so pure and prim and proper for whatever man deems you wife-worthy. But he's allowed to go and just stick it wherever he wants.
So, but you called it a hoe phase. Do you believe that women are stuck in a hoe phase, that it never goes away?
I don't think, I don't think too many women will go into it as sort of something that they
have
have
a self-proclaimed hoe.
Okay, first of all, I never said that I was a hoe.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let's get it right.
Don't be judging.
I'm not judging.
Don't be judging.
I have my judging glasses. I'm not judging.
Okay, here's my thing. I was in a relationship for 16 plus years, 3 children, you know, and it was an abusive relationship. It was an emotionally abusive relationship, and I finally broke free of it. And I chose to explore what it is that I truly want out of life.
So that's what you call it, not a hoe phase, an exploration.
I choose to call it an exploration, and I don't think that
what are you exploring?
I've been exploring what it is that I like, what it is that I want out of a man. how I want him to treat me, how I want him to make me feel, how I want him to touch me.
How do you want him to make you feel?
I want him to make me feel good, but in the way that I need it, you know, and you can't get that. Everybody doesn't know how to make you feel, so you have to pick and choose.
Are you finding that you're able to assert yourself more in what you want?
I definitely do. I feel like I am more assertive in what it is that I want. I feel that I am entitled to what it is that I want, and I don't accept anything less than that. So if I choose to be with this guy, but this guy is giving me what this guy gives me, but this guy is giving me what that guy gives me, then I can see what I want. And that's not a whole phase. That's exploration phase. That's what we'll call it. I'm exploring my options. But I am a very monogamous person at the same time. So when I fall in love with someone, I want that person to be for me, and I want myself to stay to him.
And you definitely don't belong on this show then. So let's get into it. So we have Evie and Mr. Sir Daniels here. I'm definitely putting on my glasses. So let's talk about it. So poly relationships and the swinger lifestyle. So Evie, let's start with you. So you were telling me a little bit about your background, that you were married before, right?
Correct.
You were married, and at the time that you were married, you were totally monogamous, right?
So prior to that relationship beginning, I had been poly most of my dating life, and just finished kind of a series of bad long-term relationship, bad short-term, relationship kind of deal, like that, both ended at the same time when I met my ex-husband. And so I was like, okay, I'll try something new. It was just supposed to be dating, and I was like, I'll try monogamy. That sounds like good, something different to do.
So you said you tried. I mean, you tried. So at what age did you realize that monogamy was not for you?
I probably realized in high school.
Wow.
But I didn't understand what it was until halfway through my marriage.
Okay.
Because that's why I was poly prior to that relationship, is I was realizing, okay, I have these different connections with multiple people, and I hadn't fallen in love with anyone, so I was like, why am I going to pigeonhole myself into one relationship when I'm getting, different needs met by different people? And I wasn't necessarily sleeping with them, but it was I don't want to feel bad about dating multiple people or talking to multiple people. And again, it was the long-term relationship I had that was poly. His approach was very manipulative and it was kind of a toxic poly mindset, which isn't where I am. And so that's where I was like, okay, maybe this isn't working for me because that wasn't working for me. And so it was kind of maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, I started dating my ex, and for 3 years, I didn't look at another person. And I was like, maybe it was just I had to find the right person. But no, that's not the truth. Because the thing is, I still loved him, but then I started realizing I was looking at people again.
How long into the marriage did this happen?
Do
you guys need drinks?
No, I'm good.
I'm fine. But yeah, it was 3 years into the marriage. We had one child together at that point, and I had one child from the other long-term relationship I had. So we had a family, it was committed. I love this man, and he's the first guy to ever make me have an orgasm that I didn't do myself. There was a lot of good there.
What was those stats about orgasms, that it was 17% of women never experience an orgasm?
Yep.
No, it wasn't 17%. It was 34%. It was 34%. It was definitely in the 30s. 34% of women never experience an orgasm. It is very sad. So you experienced that orgasm, and you thought that this was the one.
I mean, he was in so many ways, and I started realizing, there was somebody in my office where I just realized I noticed them, and it was that first hey, it wasn't even I had a crush on them. It wasn't even I want to fuck this guy. It was just a thing, and I was like, oh no, I'm still me. Mm-hmm. And I knew where that would go if I didn't address that. I would get to the point. Maybe I do need a drink.
Oh, bartender!
I knew I would get to the point where would cheat either emotionally or physically, and I didn't want to do that.
We got you.
My throat's dry.
Something about talking about this, does it do something to
Steal
you?
a sip of that. Yeah, and so I had that conversation where I was like, and it might not be next week, it might not be next year, it might be 10 years from now, where it might finally get to the point that I meet somebody that I have an actual connection with that might make me jeopardize this relationship.
So how did you talk to your husband about this?
Well, he knew I'd been poly before, and I kind of approached that where I'm going, I don't know that I can be monogamous forever, and I don't want to cheat on you. I don't want to do that to you. I don't want to do this to our family. And so we either need to discuss how to approach opening up our marriage, or we need to realize that we have an expiration date. And at that point, he goes, I can't do poly.
Wow.
Thank you, Brittany.
So he didn't mean it. He just shut the whole thing down.
He is one of very few people that I think are genuinely monogamously wired. Like, he is a man I know who would never cheat on me. And I don't believe that about a lot of people. I think everyone has the potential to cheat. I think he's one of like maybe 5 people.
It just takes the right circumstances and the right person to make it happen. You agree with that, Chaser Daniels?
Yes,
I think,
most definitely.
I think for like 99% of people, yeah, it's the right circumstance. I think there are very few people that are genuinely will never put themselves in that position. And so I have one of those lucky monogamous, like loyal to the end kind of dudes, and I'm like, I can't meet that. There's nothing wrong with that need for me. There's nothing wrong with that need for him. But the thing is, we tried. There's other circumstances involved. We had a lot of hardship hit about that, like shortly thereafter. So there's just a lot of strain on the relationship as we tried to do poly. He went on a couple dates, slept with a couple people. Like, he had slept with a lot of people before me, but he was like, let me try. And it didn't vibe with him. It wasn't what he wanted. And I'm like,
Because it's weird, because most men would be like, hey, I mean, the men in the audience, I'm sure you guys could agree, if your woman said, hey, you have a pass to sleep with and be with whoever you want, I think a lot of guys would be like, that's a win-win situation.
see, I've been bisexual since middle school. Like, I came out before I had a word for it. And I've had more boyfriends be like, no, you can't be with another woman. I don't want to have a threesome. I'm like,
Really?
Really? Yeah, some men are like that. Some men are very insecure about it.
It's more they respected that women were just as much a threat as men, and so
Absolutely.
like, no part
Because a lot of men feel as though
women are less.
women can give you something that I can't give you.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah,
I think
and
it's
so a
also-
lot of men are threatened by the idea of women being with other
I was
women.
gonna say, I think it's very much kind of, it comes off like an insult to their manhood.
That I'm not pleasing you, I'm not
You
doing
go
enough.
to a woman.
See, I've also had it where men view it as well. Well, it's just a woman. It's not.
It
It's
shouldn't
not
be
big,
taken
it's not a
seriously,
problem.
it's just a woman.
But the thing is, with the bisexual thing, I know as a man, I don't have boobs. I don't have that vagina. I don't have that sensitive touch that another woman can give you.
And so you feel threatened by that?
No. Please be bisexual. Only people that I date is bisexual women.
Oh, excuse
Because
me.
of that. So.
Well, if we want to go down to the science of sex, most women are a little bit more fluid in their Kinsey scale because of how we respond sexually, how our arousal response.
How many women in the audience have had bisexual experiences?
No,
Oh, bartender back there too. Hey!
Well, I think when women haven't necessarily been with another woman, the thing is like men, if they see gay pornography, that will not arouse them
Right.
if they're straight. And the same with straight porn for a gay man. But women, they can be straight as an arrow, like, dicks all
And
things
still
moving.
get turned on.
But if they see lesbian porn, that would still get them aroused. And that's kind of the difference in sexual.
You say you don't go that way. Do you get aroused by lesbian porn? Do you watch lesbian porn?
I've never exclusively watched it, but if I've seen it come across the screen, it's not negative. So yeah,
Do you get turned on by it?
I can get turned on by it.
Okay,
The
so
right
then
scene.
I'm not gonna cross you out of that list, though. I'm not.
I have
Female
had,
sexuality is
That's
very
the first
complex.
step is getting
I've had
aroused
an
by
experience,
it.
although I
So
was
you swam in the lady?
No, I didn't swim. Somebody else swam with me. But
Awesome. Now we're talking. Okay. You didn't, but you did swim in the lady pond. You might have not tasted the water, but you got in the pool.
No, I did not dive.
You got in the pond.
If you don't eat muffs, then it doesn't count.
Thank you. So there you go.
What?
Bam. She said it. She said if I don't eat
I don't
muffs,
believe
it
that.
count.
I don't believe that.
She
I
said
don't
don't
believe
count.
that.
If you don't enjoy giving cuddling gifts, it ain't the same.
I don't believe
I've
that.
had sex with straight women, and I've gone down on them, and they don't want to go down on me, and that's when I'm like, you're straight.
But just to let a woman do it. I'm still giving you the side eye. I'm still giving you the side eye.
Give me the side eye, but I
Because now I'm finding out all this
I
stuff.
had a whole thing.
You had a
We all
whole
had a whole
thing.
thing.
This was part of your whole phase.
This was part of the whole thing.
So was it a threesome or was just a strictly one-on-one experience?
It was a threesome.
Oh, see, why didn't I get any of this?
Because we was getting to it. It's good content.
I didn't know any of this. I'm shocked. All right.
She waited to this show to
She
express
said, just
it.
lay it all on me.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking at her like I don't even know her. Really, Mimi?
So yes, I was very experimental. When you
Now I
you're
feel
in
like
a-
I gotta watch
So
all the
now you gotta
ass
ask the
smacking
question. Will you
and
do it
booby
again?
grabbing.
No, threesomes are not for me. It's
Sir Daniels, we are doing the talking and interviewing.
I was
The
just
questions
curious
here,
about
sir.
if she
No,
would try it
it's fine.
again.
It's fine. It's not for me. And then in
That's what she says.
going through those experiences and those adventures
And
is
it's not for
learning.
everybody.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. It was too
Right.
much stuff going on. It was too much stimulus in order for me to be able to focus and really enjoy and be able to give pleasure to the people in the room.
I don't think you had it done right then.
Yeah, and I think
Because
there's
if you had it done right, can I get a hand clap? Because if you had it done right, you'd be like, when is the next time?
And that's fine. That's fine.
And there's some
When is it gonna happen again?
And there's some you don't want to repeat. There's some that only have one, and that was good.
Right. So, it's still hope.
I had to.
Wait, you just said one.
No, I had one threesome where it was another woman.
Oh!
So wait a minute, you had two men? Oh snap!
So
Oh
now
snap! I
we
think
have
Mimi needs to go sit on the couch.
No.
Wait a minute, you had two men.
I did, and it was hilarious. It was hilarious. So, okay, story
So
time.
when people say that that's not a threesome though,
Why?
because two men and a woman, that's that bullshit that men in society want to do.
What?
To say that two men and a woman is not a threesome, that that's a train. You had a train
You're
ran on.
right.
You're
I
right.
had to do it. I gave him a
Still
free threesome.
It's still
Because he was like, I've never had one. And I'm like, oh, honey.
It's not.
No, he had one, but it was
not
another
a
dude.
Yeah, they call two men and a
I'm
woman.
gonna tell you
a
why
train.
it wasn't a train. I'm gonna tell you why it wasn't a train.
I don't agree with that
A
terminology.
train is three or more people.
Yeah, I feel
Or-
like that's
or
like
two
a
or
gangbang
more.
orgy.
Three or more.
It's three or more people.
That's not a gangbang. That's not an orgy.
No, gangbang is like 5, 6.
Have you been involved in a gangbang? Oh, he's been involved in a gangbang. Okay, we got so much to cover. But back to you.
So the hilarity of it was I was totally single. So this was a gentleman that I was just sort of seeing exactly to fulfill just that need. And he invited like his homeboy in, but his homeboy was so drunk, nothing was happening. So it was hilarious. Like he was trying to participate, but I was just
I think that's like every man's worst nightmare
Oh,
to
yeah.
get in that
Like-
situation and can't perform.
he could not perform.
Sorry.
So are these two men that you knew? Were they friends?
I knew the one guy. I didn't know his friend.
So was it something that was pre-planned, or you were like, hey, I want to fuck both of you. Let's do it this day. Or was it something that just
That's so
happened?
planned. It was something that just happened. It was something like I said. It was my adventure phase. I was just.
Well, this was all
exploring
going in the whole phase.
shit. Yes. This was all in the whole phase.
We're just be like hoe diaries.
Yes. These were my misadventures of me. So yes, it was a misadventure. It was hilarious though. I laughed wholeheartedly about it.
So it wasn't anything that was like, damn, this shit was good. You laughed.
No, I laughed.
Wow.
I laughed.
That's bad. That's like a waste. That's a waste of two penises.
It was. But I'm
You're
not
gonna sit there and laugh at them.
I'm not gonna say that I didn't have that experience, but it was hilarious.
But was it good?
The one guy, yeah, the one guy was good. The other guy, that was sad. That was sad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did their balls touch?
No.
Because I think that's what you guys draw the line at with these, is that your balls can't touch.
Yeah, no.
But the thing is, you have to be secure in your manhood to do any of that.
Right.
See, I
Absolutely.
wouldn't want to have sex with two men that would be bothered by touching the same way. I don't like the idea of having sex with a straight woman and a man, because I'm like, if all parties aren't engaged, it's a useless sexual
So
experience.
the experiences that you have, you like your men to.
Oh, I
to
don't do
touch
two
each
dicks.
other. Oh, okay.
No.
You don't.
2 dicks, 1 too many.
Oh wow.
But for me, it's been like whenever I've had sex with a straight one, I'm like, why am I even here?
Wow.
Like,
So they kind of just ignore you?
it feels very, I don't know. It's very
Unnatural.
lackluster. I feel like it's
It's
just
Like last time. So let's get back to your husband,
ex-husband.
ex-husband now. And so you would say that your poly lifestyle contributed to your marriage falling apart? Because you said that he just wasn't with it. He tried, he just wasn't with it.
So I think more the issue is that I had fallen in love with another person. Like really hard, deep, stupid unconditional love for one other person. And I've only loved 2 people like that, my husband and this other guy. And I think if I hadn't had that dynamic and there could have been this kind of hierarchy, because there are different ways to do poly. I'm more like anarchist about it, where I feel like the connections are their own, kind of what you were saying about you can love multiple children or friends and they get different needs. Like there's no better or worse, higher or lower. And I think if I hadn't had this other person I fell in love with, we could have probably progressed eventually if I fell in love with somebody, and we could have done you're special, you're the number one, and that could have maybe alleviated the issues he had. Because my ex-husband, a lot of the problems for him is his need to be special. And that's tied into
Which is a huge
daddy issues and all that, but which is genuine. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's a real thing, and that's not terrible. That just ended up causing a lot of conflict, because there's also just so much that you can't compromise when you have love feelings for somebody. You know, there are times when he's like, can you stop talking to that person? I'm like, no more than I can stop talking to you.
Right.
Like, if I lose either of you, it's like losing an arm. Like, at this
Wow.
point, I mean, for me, when I love unconditionally, and that love doesn't disappear. I don't believe that love evaporates. And so I couldn't be in a position where I could deny this other person and my feelings for them, even if I couldn't see them, even if that wasn't a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because the fact of the matter is, I had that and it was there, and that was my premise also for poly. It's less to do about sex and more about love. It's the fact that love is not a finite resource. We don't have a well that is used up when we love somebody. The more we love, the more we can love. And once you kind of can tap into that ability to have multiple connections, you kind of realize how much more exists. And for me to then be in a position where to make my marriage work would be denied that, like kind of limitless supply, I think would be contradictory to my nature.
So how do your kids factor in this? Because you do have 2 children. How do they factor into the poly lifestyle?
So I don't involve my girls in my dating, period. I mean, it was months before my eldest met what would be my husband, and it was only... The reason why I knew I could introduce her to him is he brought it up first, where he's like, if I have a relationship with her and we end our relationship, I don't want to lose that relationship with her. And I'm like, boom, okay. Because that's, for me, my hard line. My children are their own people, and I'm not going to whip people in and out of their life just because of my relationships.
Right.
So that's a very hard line. I usually don't talk about my kids a lot. I mean, I don't include them really on social media. I don't really include them in my dating stuff, because that's no different than like cousins or brothers and sisters. That's my family, and if we're not at that point, that's not...
So, but if you get to that point, because you say that the whole poly lifestyle is about love. So when you do get to that point where you feel as though you do love this person, you're going to have multiple partners, and this person is going to be a part of your life, then you do introduce them to your kids.
So, to be fair, I do have somebody I've had a relationship with for about 3.5, almost 4 years. It's long distance. Lived in Sweden. Now I live in Canada, so there's that issue. But my daughter has met him twice, because he also has a daughter about the same age. Because he's married, know his wife. It's like really legit poly, which is great. That context of our dynamic, they don't need to know. And it might be something once they're older. Like, I've never hidden myself. As I said, when I realized I was bi, I was in middle school and I really didn't have a word. I'm like, I'm not straight. Like, I don't... So I've never been in the closet at any point in my life. And I don't believe in denial of self. It's just a matter of, that's not their business. I mean,
Right.
they are both in elementary school. That's just not even a scope of their life, you know. I think once maybe they hit puberty and they start dating, that might be a discussion as a, you know, people can date multiple people. Like, we've already had kind of the conversation of girls can like girls, boys can like boys. Because kids hit that stage where they hear stuff and they question things. So it's one of those, I don't think that's a problem. But at this stage, and until they're adults, I feel like that's really not going to be something I'm going to share with them.
That's fair. So tell us a little bit about you, Sir Daniels, and your situation and how you got involved in the poly lifestyle and also the BDSM.
Well, my relationship is different from hers.
Okay.
To me, I tell everyone this: I am a poly man, but it's different.
All right.
My
Save
little
that thought.
title.
We're going to take a quick break. All right.
Okay.
So when we get back, we're going to get into what your thought is about it. So keep it locked. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Cocktails After Dark. Joining us again before we went on break is Mr. Sir Daniel. So tell us a little bit about your story and your entering into the poly lifestyle.
Long story short, an older lady turned me out.
Wow.
Back then in the 20s, when I was 20.
You were 20?
Yeah. When
How
I
old was
20.
she?
35.
Okay.
She basically took me out there and was like, want to take you to certain parties and things like that. So that's when I...
What type of parties were they?
Swinger parties.
Swinger parties.
So
okay.
basically swinger parties, swinger events, we call them kink events,
Kink.
with the BDSM and things like that. So basically back then, that's when she was taking me through that. Being a very religious, coming from a religious family background, her thing was to turn me out.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did she succeed? I guess
yes,
she did.
back then, yes, she did. So,
Mm-hmm.
so we dated for about 5 to 7 years until she got married, and her husband knew that she was still seeing me, and that's when I was introduced into the poly lifestyle, and then also the swinger lifestyle.
So what's the difference between the poly and the swinger lifestyle for you, since you actively participate in both?
Well, mine is different from hers. Mine, to me, and I tell everyone this, I'm a single man. I have 2 slaves. I have 1 slave right now.
Wait a minute. Say that again. Did you just say slaves?
Yes. I am in the BDSM lifestyle, kink, fetish. Basically what I do is this. I take care of your needs. You take care of me. But I am taking care of your kink, your fetish, your turn-ons, your fantasies.
And was that to be owned by someone?
And that's to be owned with someone, yes. A lot of people think it's 50 Shades of Grey. It's not 50 Shades of Grey. I'm broke. I don't have a helicopter outside waiting for me.
Also, any kink person knows 50 Shades of Grey is not actual kink. That
Exactly.
stuff is bogus.
Right. So all of the stuff that people think because of the movies that's out there right now, that's totally different. It's not about fucking. It's not about sex. It's about the communication, the poly, the control.
So swinger is still the same, but you're giving me sort of like the same definition as poly. So you're saying that swinging is not about the sex.
Swinging is about couples. Well,
Swinging is about sex.
Right, swinging is about sex. But the thing is this, it's originally from couples. It's about couples swapping couples. It's about couples bringing in someone as a third. Or it's about...
But usually the boundary is the intimacy, the emotional connection, which I
Right.
think is the biggest difference.
And the fact that
between
you're doing this as a couple, as opposed to poly, you can have a single relationship with someone that doesn't necessarily involve your partner.
Well, there's like
Exactly.
kitchen table poly, and then there's like individual relationships that are more anarchist, separated, and there's hierarchies. There's a lot of different combos in
Right.
poly, but
So many of them.
swinging is definitely, you're having sex, and I think the difference is poly doesn't always have to be sexual, even if there is, that's not the root, but swinging, that's sex.
Right. Because my poly is different. My poly is when on my highest peak of poly, I am...
Your highest peak?
Yes, when I was at my highest stature of being in poly, I didn't have girlfriends. I didn't have
So what do you mean
girlfriends.
highest statue? So there's levels.
Is there a hierarchy?
There's a hierarchy to it.
It's when
That's
you
like
have your
you reach
foundation.
nirvana. Is
When
that
I
what
was the
this
happiest, okay, when I was the happiest, I had 2 submissives that was my right hand and my left hand.
Okay.
They was not my girlfriends. They were not my boos. They were my submissives. So I'm totally different from hers. Mine is a foundation of BDSM, swing, and kink.
Not necessarily poly.
It's poly because everybody comes to the table with something.
Okay. And
It's
it's
always
still consent.
consent.
Okay.
It's
And that's the important
non-consent and consent.
word,
Non-consent
consent.
is if me
It's
and her,
cheating.
it's cheating.
Non-consent's cheating.
Right.
So I have a question. If you're living in the swinging poly lifestyle, and it's mostly about the separation of the emotional attachment for swinging, yes? Am I understanding that?
It depends.
That's
It depends.
my understanding
Right.
of most people I know who've done swinging or in that lifestyle, that it's in the bedroom idea of being open, but not emotionally, not in life. Like how I would consider myself in the bedroom kink, but like not lifestyle kink. There's none of that ownership crap.
Okay.
But and I think most people have a touch of, oh, I like light bondage or whatever. So most people are vanilla bedroom kink to some degree.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of that barrier.
And I live my kink every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Please.
Mine is this way. And the thing is, everybody thinks a submissive is a weak-minded person. She is a director in a company.
Oh, absolutely. Because
And
I'm
she
strong
is-
as hell, and I'm
she is
definitely
very strong.
submissive.
And but what it is that it's her release. It's her stress release. She has certain rules that she has to abide by because back then, think about it. When you was back in the 50s and the 60s, and you saw your grandmother doing certain things, she was that strong person, but she took care of the house. She took care of her man and everything else. That's how I run my house. And my house is this. Your fantasies, I can fulfill all that. Only thing I ask for is submission. Because a lot of women these days, they're very independent. Very independent. Man, you can't tell me what to do. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do anything.
So what does submission entail for you? What does the submission mean?
Me? That's equivalent to love. Because you trust me enough to put a knife to your neck. It's to a point
Literally,
that-
you put knives to people's necks?
Does blade play?
Like,
Blade play. Yes,
Oh.
knife play.
Okay.
So if it's to a point that you trust me enough that I can throw candle wax on you, it's that trust issue. A lot of people do not have that trust. But if you trust me enough, that's better than anything else, that you trust me enough to do dangerous shit to you.
So you consider that a deeper level of love?
Yes.
Okay.
Because everybody wants that title of boyfriend, girlfriend, boo thing. But a lot of people will not submit to you. And what I mean by that is giving all your trust into that one person. And a lot of people been through bad relationships to a point that they don't trust anyone that far. It takes time. She's been with me for 3 years. We're just getting through.
You're submissive.
Yes.
So you currently only have one.
Yes, I have.
And you're looking, I remember you told me you were looking for a third.
Yes. Basically, they're my right hand and my left hand.
Is your submissive here?
No.
Okay.
So what it is that my right hand takes care of the house, take care of what family needs to do. She takes care of making sure we're okay, make sure our calendar is straight, things like that.
So she lives with you?
No,
Oh.
no, she has her own place. Everybody has their own place. My second that I had was dealing with my business side. I have another business. I make BDSM toys and furniture. So she helps me with that business. So everything is combined into one happy family. Yes, they're both bisexual and everything else. So
And you guys all interact together?
yes,
So
All the time?
not all the time.
A lot of people would say that this is the best of both worlds. So what do you feel about your submissive actually having relationships outside of you? Is it fair and okay for them to do it?
Yes, that's what being part of the poly is.
And you're okay with that? Because a lot of men, and we talked about this on break, a lot of men can't handle the fact if a woman slept with, 2 men at the same time.
Well, that's why it's part of the swing community also. With me, I tell everyone this. I am poly, but I am BDSM enforced and lifestyle swinger friendly. It's her choice to do whatever
All
she
boxes checked.
wants. Right. But the thing is this, from the very beginning, when you come to me, this is what I'm telling you. There's no secrets. There's no lies. There is no type of fantasies that I'm going to give you. I'm going to tell you the truth straight off the bat.
Okay.
I'm not looking for no monogamous relationship. I'm not.
So you ever feel as though you would be married or you could get married, or you're just going to always consider yourself single and having submissive?
I was married before.
Okay.
I did the white picket fence. Literally had the white picket fence. But just
Did
like...
you cheat?
No.
Mm-hmm.
It was the urges. But if you think about it, everyone cheats these days.
Do you think so?
Everyone.
I don't agree with that.
When
Social
you say
media,
every, you say
I don't
every-
agree
to
with
me,
that.
social media is cheating.
I was gonna
How is
ask.
social media cheating? How is social media cheating?
Social media is cheating.
How?
Because a lot of the social media is what? It's about attention, sex, and everything else. When it comes to a
Social
woman,
media is about sex for you?
if you go on Facebook, I bet you everyone in here I can find in a sexual group.
That's
And
not
you're
true.
all
That's not true. First of all, people add you to shit that you don't even agree
Yeah,
upon.
no.
So if you feel as though your Facebook is about sex, those are the people that you choose to surround yourself with, and the people
But
that
be-
you
Are you considering your business and your lifestyle?
of
Yes,
course
that's
it's going to be
how
about
it's
sex, yeah.
right, but the thing is,
But some people can have a totally different experience on social media. It could just be about religion and Bibles for some people.
It could be about cats.
It can be about cats for another person.
Cats.
It could be about putting all of you men in your place for another person. So social media isn't just about sex.
but social media is about attention, right?
I agree.
I
with
agree.
that.
I
And
think
when it comes to
everybody
a woman-
is on social media for some sort of attention, whether or not it's sexual, it's look at me, my kids, they're beautiful, look at my house, look at my
Pay attention
husband,
to me.
pay attention to me. I think social media is all about some sort of attention. I agree.
But when you're on social media and you get that, hey, nice looking, and your husband or your man say, why this guy talking to you like that?
That's
That
his
can happen on the
problem.
street
That's
anyways.
his problem.
That's his problem.
Someone telling you you're pretty is not
For
cheating.
someone who is on social media, and I have a lot of followers, and my page is full with, oh, you look good, you look beautiful.
But is flirting considered
No.
cheating?
No, it's not.
For
What
a
is
woman,
considered flirting though? But what
no.
is considered
For
flirting?
a
Because
woman.
for some of you men, you can't even say hi. I can't even look you in the eyes without you thinking that I'm flirting with you.
Well, me and my ex-husband, like, he is so monogamously wired, but we both acknowledge we're flirtatious people. And even when we were monogamous, that was never an issue for us. We flirted, like that was because that's just conversation.
But I think it goes to the extent of what people look at as what actually is flirting to them.
Because some people feel as though
It's
having a
always-
conversation.
Yeah,
is
it's
flirting.
always going to be subjective, and it's always going to be different for that
And
person.
I think it depends on your relationship. It's
Yeah.
like when Mike Pence's wife can't fucking go and have
Right.
dinner with another dude, and that's
But it's kind of strange to me that you can be involved in this lifestyle, but you feel as though social media is sexual and social media is cheating.
Well, no. I can say it this way. With me, as a dominant man of who I am and what I carry in my lifestyle, I choose to do this, but it is my life. I tried this monogamous thing. I was married for 10 years. I suppressed it because that's part of being suppressed by it. I was the good husband, waving with my hand with the ring, and everything else. But she considered porn as cheating. So that was the situation to start with. So with the urges that I had, porn was
sad.
saving our marriage.
Wow.
Because to me,
I can't sleep some nights without porn.
Word.
that's why I would still consider myself poly, because I was still looking at and fantasizing about porn. She got offended by it because she was strictly monogamous.
So
But-
her thought process was the fact that you're watching porn, you're cheating. That means you're not monogamous because you're watching porn.
Right.
So she
Wow.
thought because you were fantasizing that you were fantasizing with these other women, and that somehow she wasn't desirable.
Right.
So maybe you
But-
think that maybe it was just her?
Her insecurities?
If
Or
you,
mindset.
But
It's
is
a
that
mindset.
what drove you to this poly lifestyle?
No.
When did you
After
say
I got
that
my-
enough is enough, I'm out of this?
Oh, when
did
I got
you
my
have that
divorce
conver-
papers.
But
I
so
went
did you
back to
ever
it.
have the conversation with her?
Yes.
Or this wasn't, the lifestyle is not what caused your divorce?
No, the lifestyle wasn't our demise. I told her she knew what I was doing before her, but she was like, "Promise me you wouldn't." And me being in love and whipped, I was like, "Okay."
You were pussy whipped.
Oh, of course. And I loved it. I loved being married. I loved being around one woman and because we were a team. We were building something. We was building our empire. But it got to a point that itch started coming back of I need to be around other like-minded people. Because what happened was everything, my whole world was her. But then it got to a point after she got those papers, I was, of course, man scorned. I was like, I am just going to be poly for the rest of my life. I enjoy it because it's something that I can control as a dominant man.
Okay.
I can control who comes into my life.
So do you guys feel like you have issues with having relationships and maintaining relationships because you're poly? Does this scare a lot of people off?
I am single by choice. I say I'm single by choice because of my lifestyle, my business, because I'm always out of town. I don't have, now unless you're gonna go with me, my last 3 months I've been gone to Ohio, to
But do you think that
Jersey.
this is a positive or a negative thing when you're trying to have healthy and retain relationships? Is your poly status a turn off to people, or people are intrigued by it?
Turned off. I mean, intrigued.
So I find relationships I have end up being better. I mean, I had an 8-year long marriage, and then I've had, once that opened up, 2 long-term. The one just ended was 3.5 years, and the other one's still ongoing, and that's been almost 4 now. So the relationships I build have depth and longevity. However, I think most people innately go, "Oh, I can't do that. I'm jealous," or "I can't share it."
Me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's usually an immediate, "Oh no, that's not for me." And I'm like, okay. I don't try to convert people, but then I have so many. Like my best friend was talking to me today where she has a great relationship. She loves the guy that she's with, but she's like, "There's this guy at work, and I kind of have a crush on him." I'm like, "You know how I feel. There's nothing wrong with that, but you know what you're doing in your relationship, that's off limits. So you need to watch yourself and make sure that you don't
Right,
cross
you
that
set
line
your own
if you're not
boundary.
going to have that conversation."
So the
about
key
it.
word with all of this is consent.
Consent
Consent.
and communication.
Consent and communication.
Yes, because if you don't communicate and let them know that you're never going to be in a monogamous relationship, of course 9 out of 10, they're going to be like, well, let me just stay around for a little bit just to see if you're going to change you.
Because that's the thing for a lot of people is that whole thing with getting him to pick me, getting him to choose me.
Well, my
You know,
mother-
I'm gonna win.
My mother keeps being like, "You just haven't found the right person yet." I was like,
You're right.
"No, boo. I had the right person,
Right.
and I could not do it."
But you knew that and you recognize it, and
Yeah.
I commend you guys for being able to recognize that this is something that's within you and being honest with people about it and being able to speak about it so freely and in the open. I think that's important because a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions and a false narrative about this whole lifestyle, that it's all about sex and it's all about perversion and people are just nasty. Y'all just nasty.
And most people that I know that are poly or kinksters, all that, are very private about it.
Right.
I had a married couple that I got introduced by a friend because they're like, "Oh, they're poly," and I said something on Facebook like, not even thinking about it, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, we don't tell people."
To talk about
And
it.
I'm like, "Bullshit! I've
Because
never been in the closet.
I mean,
I
it
don't
was
know how to do that."
it was
I'm sorry.
hard to even get people to come on and be on
Yeah.
camera for this show because
Mhm.
of the sensitive situation. So does any of you guys have any questions for anybody before we let our guests go? You guys have any questions? Anything that you're curious about that you want to know? Nothing? No one?
I have a question.
Okay.
Back to you, Mr. Daniels.
Mr.
Yes,
Daniels.
ma'am.
So when you started, you said it was an older lady who turned you out.
Mm-hmm.
Were you the dominant or the submissive when that happened?
I was always the dominant. I was always the dominant person. She just showed me how to dominate an older woman. Back then, I was 20. I was thumper. Thought I was porn star central. And she was like, what the hell are you doing? I mean, you're just pouncing on my pelvis. I'm gonna need you to. She told me how to satisfy a woman.
Which we all do, women are great for.
Yes.
Yes.
But now, I'm the one that's doing it. I'm doing the training.
So would you consider yourself more of a switch at the time?
Back then,
It
no.
doesn't sound like it.
I was never a switch.
What's a switch for the people at home?
It's basically being a dominant and a submissive to certain people.
Okay, gotcha.
So
Go
basically,
back and forth.
right, you can go back and forth. I was always the dominant.
You was
So you've
always
never
dominant.
thought about being a submissive?
Well, it's
It's not
So-
really a thought.
right. It's not a thought. It's an action. It's who you are.
Though I've found there are a lot of great doms who have been submissive, and that's why they're really good doms. Is
Mhm.
because they know what it's like to submit.
I know
So they know how
to.
to then dominate somebody
Right.
well. Because there's so many people that say they're doms
And they
don't
don't
know
really
they
know.
don't.
So key takeaways that you want people at home to know about the poly lifestyle. A huge misconception. What is a key takeaway that you want folks to know?
I think the taboo really needs to be addressed. I think monogamy, especially as it's presented nowadays, is such a modern convention, and there's nothing wrong with more infinite love. That if people stop trapping themselves in the, oh, I'm too jealous or possessive, if your needs are getting met, real love's freedom. And that doesn't mean your partner has to be somebody else, but if they found somebody that they're like, oh wow, there's a thing here, that shouldn't destroy your love.
Your love is freedom. Okay, I like that. What about you, Mr. Sher Daniels? What is your takeaway that you want folks to know?
Basically, it's about communication. It's about knowing what you want and knowing your foundation. Because a lot of people can't do what we do.
No, they
A lot
can't.
of people can't even phantom thinking about it. But but part of it is just life changing. You can enjoy it to a point of full bliss, or you will hate every minute of it. It's a measuring. And for me right now, out of all the choices that I've been doing since I'm 45 now, this is the best time of my life. And I'm happy for it, and I'm content about it.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you guys for joining us. Thank you so much, because like I said, it's brave for you guys to come on here and be on, camera talking about your lifestyle. And I definitely commend you guys for that, for, being open and honest and knowing exactly who you are and what you want and living your life to your standards.
And thank you for sharing your
And
stories
thank you for
with us.
sharing your story.
Thank you for
Providing your
inviting me.
perspective.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you to our audience for joining us. We really appreciate you coming and being a part of this.
Yeah, so when we get back, we're going to have our finishing remarks.
Our final thoughts.
Yeah, our final thoughts. So we'll be right back. Well, it's been a fun show. Our glasses are empty, so you know what that means. It's time to end the show.
Yes.
We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Special thanks to our guests again, Evie and Sir Daniels, for being open and honest and sharing
their
their story and their life. We definitely appreciate it. And again, thank you to our studio audience. We can't do this show without you. You guys are such a huge part of our show, and we love you guys for tuning in and being a part of
Yes,
this.
visually being a part of this.
Absolutely. And also to our hosts.
Our host, thank you so much, Bo, for letting us grace your beautiful place, Orion at Fillmore.
Yeah, so look forward to more things to come from this awesome location. It's just such a beautiful vibe here, and we're just so appreciative that he
Yes.
allowed us into his home to take over and film our show. So
Indeed.
look forward to more to come from us. Again, we hope to be able to do these things for you monthly.
At least once a month.
At least once a month, with special guests, and give you an inside view of things that are going on and to the things that are most taboo
Yes.
about relationships and people, and give you another perspective of things.
All the
again,
good conversation
all the good
pieces.
conversations. So we thank you guys for tuning in. It's been fun. Bye.